What is going on today, YouTube? Today we're going to talk about what has been a better investment over time. We're going to talk about gold and we're going to talk about the stock market. The common misconception out there has been the stock market has blown gold out of the water. I'm going to tell you why that's true and why that's not true. So let's get into it. Alright, so when we first pull up the chart, this is a very nice chart. I'm going to thank macrotrends.net for giving me this chart. But yeah, look at it. You can see the blue line. Guess what that is? That's the S&P. Actually, the Dow Jones. And guess what? Gold way down here. So if you look at it back from the whole way this chart runs from about 1915 to today, 2020, gold has vastly underperformed stock market. Stock market blown out of the water, just like you hear from everyone. Stock market's by far the better investment over time. Okay, yes. True, right now, you're seeing it, right? 50,000% returns versus 10,000% returns. It's a no-brainer. So quick, let's go over a little history lesson and why the stock market has absolutely blown gold as an investment out of the water. Switch over to thebalance.com. It's a gold price history. Just so everyone out there watching this video realizes, gold was at a fixed price from 1935 to 1970, and that is why the stock market completely blows gold out of the water as an investment. And to be quite honest, that's a lot of people's argument. They just don't understand it anymore to why gold is not actually an investment. And yes, it was not. Back from 1935 to 1970, gold was not an investment as far as I'm concerned because the government fixed the price of it. The US dollar was backed by gold, so the government fixed the price of gold at around $35 an ounce. Yes, it did fluctuate a little bit up and down, but it had to stay around $35 an ounce. So when we look, gold was actually around $20.67 up until 1932, 1933. Yes, these numbers are skewed a little bit because they take the average for the year. And then when you get farther down the chart, they take the end of the year number. So that explains this chart a little bit. But gold is set at a fixed price of $20.67. No matter what happened, what inflation was, what anything was, gold is set at $20.67. FDR comes in as president of the United States. The 1920s were so-called the booming years. They were booming the economy, booming everything. Everyone was happy, all thrilled to death and everything. Whatever they touched, whatever they did, whatever they invested in, went up through the roof and just couldn't go wrong. And then 1929 came, and that was the beginning of the Great Recession. So from 1929 to 1933, there was a period of Great Depression in the U.S. A lot of people lost their jobs. People couldn't get jobs. People couldn't get money. People couldn't get anything. So FDR comes in and has this great idea to force everyone to sell their gold. If you're a common citizen, it was made illegal to own gold. So everyone was forced to sell their gold in 1933 at $20.67 an ounce. As soon as this was done and this Expansion Gold Reserve Act went in, gold was repriced at $35 an ounce, which made an instant profit for the government of around $15 per ounce of gold that people were forced to give to them. So ever since then, the dollar, the United States dollar, is backed by gold from 1935 to 1971. So you can see going through. I'll scroll slow, but going through, it's always around $35 an ounce up until 1971. Stuff started to get. You can see gold price jumped a lot. And this is because the US dollar was no longer backed by gold. So it could actually trade at a realistic rate what it was actually worth based off supply and demand and not be tied to anything. So the government cannot control this price anymore. It's all supply, it's all demand. It's a commodity, just like silver, just like other bullion out there, copper, any metal, commodity. And I mean, throughout history, gold and silver have always been used as a currency. And back in the day, back in way back, they always would trade gold and silver and use it as actual money. That's why people refer to it as real money. So in 1971, it was not fixed anymore. It was not at a fixed price. It went off a standard. That's a very, very, very important date, because this chart we're going to bring up that I had up before, you have to think the stock market was trading and kept on gaining. You've heard of the seventh wonder of the world being compound interest. So compound interest, think of that, in effect from 1915 the whole way to 2020. Yeah, stock market would blow gold out of the water. Gold was missing out on returns that it should have had for what? From 30 to 71, 40 years? So the stock market had a 40-year head start on gold. All right, so we're going to look. As you can see, the price just starts jumping. 43, 63, 106, 500, and then you go the whole way to today, where gold is trading at around $2,000 in 2020. 2019, this isn't really updated, but in 2020, current gold price was all the way up to like $2,050 per ounce. All right, so we're going to get back to the chart. Back to the chart. So, to make this point even more clear, look at all these gains. We're going to scrunch this up. Get it adjusted to where we see 1970. Okay. So look, stock market. Dow Jones, for this example, has been trading and trading and trading since 1915. Yes, it had a big recession. This is the big recession of the starting in 1929 to 1934. Big recession. But gold was always at a fixed price. It was always around $35 an ounce. So look, the stock market was up the whole entire, almost 1,600% when gold was lacking and couldn't even move because it was fixed. It was a fixed price. The government fixed it. So now, just to go back one more time, yes, stock market blows gold out of the water, right? Let's do the reverse. Let's do this chart from 1970. We'll try to get like right at 1971. Guess what? Gold has severely outperformed the stock market by about 1,500% from 1971 to 2020. Whenever the US dollar was no longer backed by gold, the price of gold was no longer fixed. If you like investing at all and you like this stuff, there's no way you cannot find this interesting. This is the most interesting thing I've ever seen. It just shows you the entire reason, the entire argument that gold is not an investment is not valid after 1970. After 1970, when the gold price was no longer fixed, gold has outperformed the stock market by 1,500%, not just a little margin. And the only other argument you could make is gold has this huge run-up right now because of the pandemic and everything that's going on. If it wasn't for this pandemic and everything going on, gold would still be right with the stock market. From 1970 to 2020, gold would be right with the stock market. The biggest thing I want to point out in this video is you can't always trust what you hear. Do your own research before you just listen to someone talking on the news or read an article out there. The internet's so open today, we have such great information we can find on it. But I thought this was the most interesting thing ever, that from 1970 to 2020, gold has greatly outperformed the stock market. All you ever hear is stock market over time won. And yes, it did. I mean, if you look back from 1915 to 2020, but I don't even think it's a fair race. It was a fair race from 1970 to 2020, but not before that. So what's the better investment over time? I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen? I mean, what if the government came back in and made you sell your gold again and depriced it, made it back, and put the dollar back on a gold standard? I don't know. What would happen? Who knows? It's why a lot of people hide their gold offshore at other banks, and they don't trust the bank with it, they don't trust anyone with it. So what if the government comes back in and says gold's getting too good, we need to fix the price again? They might put it back on a standard, and it might greatly decrease the value of gold. But the most interesting thing I have is gold has vastly outperformed the stock market, and you will not hear that anywhere else. So if you liked the video, you got value in this video, give me a like, comment down below if you got any questions, or bring up something about gold. I'd love to join in a conversation, and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.